Greetings, Internet, and welcome to Turn 8 Gaming Let's Play Factorio cooperatively. I am your host, Rich.
And this is Opie.
And I just got out of my train and tried to remember what I'm doing here. Which I believe was putting down miners, because I have a lot of miners in my pockets.
That would make sense.
Yeah, so let's get a few housekeeping thingies out of the way here. While I try to talk and put mining down and see how well that goes. First thing is this is another new day of recording or whatever. Oh man, this one's not gonna fit where the gun is there. Poopies. So as a new day of recording, just mentioned we are still on 0.16.36. That's what it was.
Sure.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's what it is. Because, as I had said in the last thing, we are stable, essentially. This is a stable release build, and that's what they're going to call it. And so they're not working on too many things. Unless there's like a real big bug fix kind of thing. I don't expect there to be a lot, if any, more updates to Factorio before 0.17.
Exactly. There'll be little minor things, but whatever.
Yeah. Usually it's bug fixes, unless I don't know. Sometimes they're like, we just made this cool thing and it comes out now or whatever. But most of the time that doesn't happen. Man, like I said before, the outlier of these patches of ore are very thin. There's so many dead miners here already. It has not been running that long. Anyway, second bit of thing to talk about. We got some comments in the old YouTube commenty thingy. So
wait. People are actually like watching us?
They're person. It might be just person. We might just have one person.
That's more than zero.
Hey, yeah, exactly. But in all seriousness, thank you for the comment. And I wanted to talk about some of the things, and I just used a grenade to blow up, I think, like one tree, and then myself. And I damaged that. Doing good.
Excellent.
Anyway, the comment was made that RSO, Resource Spawner Overhaul, is a mod, and that it would have helped with this current scenario that we had of the tin being where I am, way out in the middle of nowhere.
Yeah.
As well as the lead and the other things like that, because it properly assigns Bob's mods to the right spot. Which is true. So if you are going to start a new game, if you've been watching this and for some reason, you decided now is the time you wanted to start a new game, and you wanted to do Bob's mods, I definitely would recommend RSO, Resource Spawner Overhaul, to evenly kind of distribute, like I said, the thing. And what it basically does, I did a bunch of tests. I put it in, installed it, and did all that kind of stuff. And it will, it kind of ensures that the things that you need, lead, tin, and that kind of thing, which are needed in Bob's but are not part of the vanilla Factorio, are in your starting spawn area.
Which would be, oh my god. I mean, if we had that, we'd be so much farther in this game. I mean, we wouldn't have trains yet, but like, we'd have maybe green signs? Maybe. I don't actually know that, but yeah.
Maybe, yeah. But, Opie and I did a little test before to try it. We've been cheating on you. And did have another game going on that we're not recording just to kind of test some things out. And I think within 3 hours we were past the point where we are now, or right at this point.
In certain ways, like we have certain circuits up, but we don't have trains or anything like that. But
we were forced, kind of like we had a necessity to do trains in this game because we needed to get this freaking stuff. So it does work, and I do that. Now I will say the reason we didn't use it, and it was a mod we were aware of before. In fact, Opie used to use RSO all the time.
Yes.
And I used it. Most games I used it on mine as well. But so basically the quick and dirty of RSO is that it kind of like I said, it redistributed your ore, so it helps with this kind of thing. But it was also for before there was a rail world setting in Factorio, it kind of did that thing where it basically spread out your ore in a wider distribution. There were less frequent patches of ore.
Yes.
But the patches themselves were more dense. So that kind of like forced you to make a train to go get them. It was basically a lot of the thing was so you could do trains.
Yeah, it kind of forced you, because in reality, like, if you don't have to do trains, you won't, because...
Yeah. And in Vanilla Factorio, there was like everything. They were relatively close. Like eventually you would probably want trains. Oh man, I am out of belts. Darn it. Sigh. Every time I come out here, I always forget to do something else. Guess I'm heading back because I can only make 15 more belts.
That's not enough.
It is not enough. Come on, Choo Choo. Let's go. To the drop-off.
I just reinforced Cole, actually. We lost a few guns, apparently, so...
Oh. Well, that's good to know.
Yes.
So anyway, when we first did a test for this game, which was before even episode 1, but, you know, we were testing it out, and it was, I don't know, a couple of weeks, maybe a month or so before we actually started to play it.
Yes.
For this thing. It was shortly-ish after 0.16 had come out. They added the rail world type of settings, or they've modified them in Factorio. I don't remember if they were there before, but either way, rail world as a game type was changed. Or I don't know. And it was supposedly it was doing those things like you can spread out your stuff. You know, it's supposed to do that idea of man, I'm having a hard time with words today.
Distributing.
Yeah, so for the train thing, for the train
Yeah.
setup specifically, so that we could like have it kind of, you know, far enough away that trains made sense, that kind of deal. And the vanilla game comes with that kind of thing, and it does do it to some extent, as you can see. We have stuff that, you know, it gets pretty far away, as you've noticed. I should probably get in the train before I send it back. It's a novel idea.
Yeah, 'cause it is amazing how there's like a lot of like blank space, you know. There is like a lot of blank space, but then when you go past that blank space of like the initial base, there is actually a lot of stuff.
Yeah, so it kind of, it sort of doesn't quite do it 100% like most people who get these kind of mods want it to do.
Yeah.
It puts a bigger barrier between your starting zone and the other stuff, but then it's still fairly well distributed, and you know, there's larger patches around. I probably should have picked up more miners while I was at it, but oh well, I didn't do that. I'm dumb and bad at this.
Whee!
So anyway, it doesn't quite do the distribution. So RSO is still there. It still does that kind of thing. If you're looking for that, it's not bad to get it.
No, I would definitely recommend it at this point. I mean, it would have just made our game so much simpler to start, but still encourages you to go out and do trains and such. Correct. Because you have to. Because, I mean, the patches we have in our other cheating game, like, they're really, really tiny. So, you know, while we are getting a nice boost when we start, we have to start doing trains very shortly in that, so.
Exactly. However, also when we first started doing this kind of thing and we tested RSO, because we were both familiar with RSO, I guess at that point it hadn't been properly updated because of 0.16,
no.
And it was not working. It was not working properly at all.
It was only a week or two after the big patch, so it just, like, it was updated, so it technically worked, but it just wasn't good.
It didn't do what we were hoping it would do and what it does now to do that kind of thing. And it also didn't handle the lead and tin and all that kind of stuff. It wasn't doing that properly. I don't know what it was about it. And to be perfectly honest, I feel like that's something that could just be built into Bob's. I'm not a modder. I don't know Lua script or whatever, but like, because it can be built into RSO, I'm kind of curious why it isn't properly built into Bob's, as far as like having those things that you kind of need early on be part of your early thingy. And I did try it a couple of times without, like, because Bob's had been updated as well, as we mentioned in the last episode or two. And I thought, oh, well, maybe they did do that. And I tested it, and they still haven't. It still isn't quite proper, like sometimes I would get the things I needed. Most of the times it would be missing one or two. So yeah, that's still kind of an issue. RSO, still a good idea.
Yep.
Long story to tell you about that. But anyway, Thank you for the comment on that. What we did do, however, because of the same commenter, Gustavo, I believe is his name, we got 2 extra mods, and you might be able to tell as I zoom in on this thing, the ores here are definitely nicer looking than the Bob's versions were. Again, not a ding on that Bob's or whatever, but they just didn't have really nice looking ores. So this is Shiny Bob, Shiny Bob GFX, and Shiny Icons, I believe, are the 2 mods that we have added. And what they will do, Icons, if I go to the thing here, you can see that our electronic boards look kind of like the old electronics board did, only they're just going to be different now.
Yeah, which, I mean, just for me, like, it just makes so much more sense to me just because, you know, you play this game for a few hundred hours, you're just used to this. Exactly. You're used to that look. And, like, I liked what, you know, the original Bob's things, they look nice, too. And if starting fresh, I would have been fine, but I am just so used to these things, it just makes it so much clearer now.
Yep. And the wooden boards and all that kind of stuff were updated. And this, so we only did 2 of them. There's a bunch of shiny out there. The ones we got are specifically from a modder named Zombie. There's another modder that has other things that are called shiny and more. I feel like the zombie one maybe is taking over or something like that because the other one hasn't been updated in a while. Because zombies are taking over. That's why. But the other mod had not been updated more recently, and this one was like a week or 2 ago.
Yeah.
So we're using those 2 things to kind of just make things look prettier. It's not entirely necessary. You can certainly play without them. It's just nicer looking, and because we're recording this for the internet, it's better to be nicer looking. And like Opie said, it feels better.
Exactly.
We also downloaded 1 extra mod that I had talked about early on, I believe, and I mentioned that like there's a way to search for stuff and tell you what's going on. And I couldn't think of the name of it, and I couldn't figure it out. So this is it up here in the corner. FNEI, it's Factorio NEI. When you click on it and bring it up, it brings up this nice little search thingy. If you do the FNEI search, you can just kind of pick anything you want from this list or type it in. So, for example, we were worried and concerned about things like the wood. So here's the wood that you make from raw wood. And we were trying to figure out, like, do we bus raw wood? Do we bus wood? Do we bus resin? What were we thinking?
Yeah, we talked about that for quite a while, actually. Yeah. Like, just if you're going back and forth between the things. I mean, in the end, we did decide that raw wood is best because while you have to break it down into other things more often, it's a relatively simple process. Yep. So you can get a lot of simple wood.
And otherwise we would need to have wood and resin, like, which we would make right from the greenhouse thing. You just make them both right there and then put them on a bus. But both of them are not used that much. They're used a decent amount, but they're not so much that it makes sense to have like a ton of them.
Yeah.
So rather than putting something else up here, we just decided to keep wood. But the nice thing about this is, as you can see, you bring up your FNEI, you do the search, and it tells you, okay, it's recipe. There are 2 recipes to make wood in this version, apparently, because apparently you can make it with heavy oil.
Why not?
Did not know you could just turn oil into wood. News to me. I guess it's like making resin, like a composite wood or something. I don't know.
Yeah, that's what I'm guessing.
Not actual resin, because you can make resin in this too. So whatever.
Yeah.
But yeah, some sort of. It actually says synthetic wood. I forgot about that. So
there you go.
It's like, I don't know, pergo floors or something. I don't know. Anywho, that's when you left click on something. If you right click on the material itself, it actually brings up all of the recipes that particular material is used in. So I right clicked on wood, and it's showing me these 9 different recipes of things that it is used in. A lot of which are shotgun stuff. So there's only 2 really different board things, the phenolic, or however you pronounce that.
I have no clue.
A bunch of guns and small electric poles, and then the wooden boards that we need already. So it didn't quite make sense to make a whole bus just full of that. But anyway, this FNEI is definitely especially when you're doing a Bob's mod type of thing and you have all this extra stuff to deal with. I feel like it's worth it.
Yeah, because there's so many different recipes and such now. We can't keep track of all of them. I can't, certainly. So
the only thing slightly disappointing is I'm just looking in on the screen now. And maybe there's another one for this, but the shiny Bob's GFX does not affect Bob's gemstones. So those are still hideous.
Oh, boy.
So, oh well, maybe there's another one for that. Maybe we'll peek at it some other day. But not for now. Anywho, that was a lot of exposition in the beginning of this particular episode, but let's keep on rocking and rolling here.
So where we left off is, we made the my complex factory to make, level 2 factories, level 2 assembling machines, which, works. In our talks since the last episode, we've kind of determined that it really would be beneficial for us to belt circuit boards. It just, we kind of thought maybe we can just, make them on site and such. But I think, even someone even commented about it, that they do it as well on YouTube. And it just seems like it's going to be so much easier just to belt this stuff. Like, we were kind of hoping to cut down on everything we belt on Bob's Mod because there's going to be a million things. But I feel like circuits are such an integral part of this actual game that we just have to. So that's kind of where like the whole wood talk came in. We didn't know if we wanted to do wooden boards because they can be made into the circuit boards and whatnot. The one thing we did discover is, again through comments, which I had seen these but never actually thought about them, is these little electronic assembling machines.
Yeah. We actually talked about it in the beginning when we saw them, or I did at least. I mentioned them and I was like, I don't understand. They do the exact same thing.
Yeah.
And then moved on.
Yep,
Never
exactly.
thought about them again.
Yeah, so we discovered, they're actually much smaller and faster than even the level 2 assembly machines.
Yeah, they're like the equivalent of level 3 assembly machines.
So,
but you can make them really early.
I will actually start using those now. I'm sure anyone who saw my giant thing over here is just kicking themselves because half of these things, in fact, most of these things can be made in the smaller machines, and it would be a much more compact design, but whatevs. It's done.
The gears maybe, and the resin and the wood.
Yes, gears, resin, wood. The actual assembly machine makers would need it too. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Everything else can be done in these little factories. So what I'm going to start doing is I'm going to set up an actual circuit board. Is that what it's called? I don't remember what these things are called. Yeah, basic circuit boards.
Basic circuit boards, yeah. Electronic circuit boards. So they're like the...
Yeah.
Electronic ones seem like the green circuits of old.
Yeah, exactly. It's just like
so you know what? So I mentioned this before, I think, with the science things, but that's what screws me up, because green circuits are the first circuits, are they not?
Yes.
So why the hell is red science the first science? That's what throws me off. They're reversed on that thing. So I'm like, hey. True. So another thing that I kind of figured out while we were doing this other thing, and maybe other people are talking about this too, but like the this smelter array for solder is way overkill.
Oh yeah. We didn't realize that. You
they
put
make
in all these
11 solder plates every 7 seconds, which means instead of like one of these arrays, which makes a plate of whatever, or one of these furnaces, I should say, which makes a plate of whatever every 3.5 seconds, this thing will make 5.5 solder plates a second.
Yeah.
No, every 3.5 seconds. Same thing. So 5.5 every 3.5 seconds. So 5.5 times faster than this smelter array is, which means to fill up one belt this is way, way more than you need. But whatever. I already built it, so that's what it's going to be. However, thanks to FNEI and other things, we kind of looked into it, and it sort of doesn't make a lot of sense to actually make solder plates on the belt.
No, not
because
at all.
They're not used for anything, really, aside from making solder.
Yeah, so there literally is no
this
reason.
This part right over here that Opie's already got going on here, this factory making solder, which needs resin, which he's got going on up here, and the solder plates. That's it. That's what the solder plates are used for, just to come and do this. And you need very, very little of them.
Yeah.
You know, it's, what is it? 2 solder plates a second makes 8 solder, or, well, 4 solder a second, if you do the, you know, averaging it out to a second, or normalizing it to a second. So you only need 2 plates. And that's, you know, this is ridiculous. I can make a ridiculous amount with that. Also, solder can be made, I believe, in the little tinier factories as well. Not that it matters that much. So
Yeah. That's, you know, nice, but not super important.
So I did this in the other thing we were doing, and I think I'm going to do it in here too. Is I'm going to basically just turn around this solder and make it over here into solder. Well, solder plates into solder. Ugh, too much of that work. Solder. And then I will belt the pieces of solder, the coils of solder, as it were. However, I was still trying to make... And we still have solder up here and all this stupid stuff we can take it apart. But anyway, I wanted to make more mining drills.
Yeah, I think we need to build out a second iron furnace here.
You're only saying that because it's not making enough at all.
Yeah. Granted, I just picked up a lot, so that's why
Yeah,
you're not seeing
that.
a lot, but yeah.
Well, because the speed is, what, half as slow as the steel furnaces? Can we make steel furnaces yet? No.
No.
I think 1 belt coming in should still be enough to supply 2 full arrays that we have set up right now, because this is not quite big enough.
And frankly, we aren't really using much steel anyway right now. So, like, it's making it, but we're using like a small percentage of it. So.
Oh, you wanted to pull it off the steel one. I was going to say that right now we could split this one and it's probably okay.
I mean, honestly, we can do a splitter like right here, and so they kind of like share each other.
Gotcha.
Yeah. I think we need to build it because we're using a lot on ammo right now, which is just
right.
Which we need, but.
All right, so let's lay down some of these thingies. One day, you know what? I also need iron. I did come here to get iron. Let me steal some iron. That way, while we're doing this, I can pocket craft some more mining drills, because I don't think we have a thing for that yet. But I'm going to want to do that soon.
We don't have anything automated right now. Except for, like, guns and belts. No, we have an inserter factory. I forgot we
do have an
that.
inserter factory, yeah.
That's nice. I like that. Take one of those.
Which is why we could make the green science faster in our pocket if we wanted to at least do that. Well, this little underground setup thing here is kind of in the way of the output.
Oh, yeah. Well, I can always adjust it.
Oh, we seem to be having a coal shortage. Now, why is this doing this? This is output priority, and yet this is clearly... Oh, I guess because it's not full on both sides of this thing.
Yeah.
That's why.
That's right, because our mines are kind of dying at this point. You know, we have the coal train.
We do, yeah. Why are we both running here and doing this? This is a waste of time.
Because...
You keep doing what you're doing, darn it.
I'll finish the smelter here.
We need to finish one thing before we finish this episode. We've already got, like...
No.
We're getting close to the end of something.
We will never finish anything.
Let's see here. So, what is this running to?
Putting down pole.
This side goes to the whole belt and copper and steel. Probably grenades.
All right. Second iron is... That's good. Where's this belt need to go to? It needs to go to the middle one there. That makes things more annoying.
Yay!
That splitter is in the exact wrong place. So we'll move it. Move it up here.
I'm always nervous when you start doing things like that. Alright, I think what I want to do is I'm going to cut off... I don't know why I chose that spot, so I'll cut the coal off there, which I don't think is being used that much. This probably should have been a priority splitter in the first place, way back here, but it wasn't.
Detail.
And make sure we're still getting enough for our power, so that's good. And then, like, nothing else is going on.
All right. We have a second belt of iron.
I don't want to have a whole ton of coal in my pocket. How are these things still emptying stuff? Oh, because of the slow... Do I have faster inserters?
Yeah, so we can actually make those now. We should probably replace those.
Why is that happening? Oh, because you put a pole in the middle of that. Gotcha. Or I did, maybe. I don't know. Who knows?
I think it was me, actually.
It sounds like something you would do, I'm going to be honest with you.
It gave us an extra inserter that works, so, you know.
What can I not... I need solder plates to make this? Why? Didn't I just say we don't need those? Can I craft? Can you pocket craft solder? Oh, you can, so that's what I'm doing. Gotcha. Way down here.
Alright, so I'm going to set up this circuit board thing. The circuit board thing takes... What do we need here? We need... Can't ever find these things. There we go. Copper cable, wooden boards. We can make one circuit board a second.
Oops, I ran right past it. Didn't we have a thing making capacitors, whatever they're actually called?
Yes, up there somewhere. So,
9 inserters.
3 copper cables a second.
Of course, now I'm missing iron. Turn it all the hell.
And I can make 4 copper cables a second. That's annoying. So I don't know. So we came up with a little design before in this other game. And basically the ratio is, because it's basically 3 copper cable machines to 4 circuit board machines, because you make 4 copper cables a second, and you need 3 copper cables a second for the other machine, for the circuit boards. So it's like a 3 to 4 ratio. I'm not sure if it...
Annoying.
Yeah, I'm not sure if it actually transfers good enough, but... well, yeah, you'll see once I set this thing up, so... First thing is easy. We need to... Wooden logs are going to come in here. They get turned into wood, and then I can turn into wooden boards. We have basically 4 machines making wooden boards, which is enough for a ton of circuit boards. Because what? We figured the circuit boards, we can make 1 a second. So we basically need 14 of them to make, you know, fill a belt. You know, it's rounding up because it's like 13.3 or whatever for a belt. So I figure with, wow, let's just set this up and then I'll explain it.
All right, so I need to branch this coal line over because you're actually already not getting anything over there. probably shouldn't split 3 ways off of one line.
That's fine. Inserters.
There's definitely not going to need to be a splitter there, but whatever.
Oh yeah, we need to power through. We need to power through medium poles, don't we? That's a thing.
What?
We gotta get medium power poles.
Can we not even make them yet?
No, we haven't researched it yet.
Oh. Well, we don't have research at all. We took all the research balls away, remember?
Oh, did we? Oh yeah.
Yep. Because you were setting that up, and we were going to move research. So we just have, like, yeah, we got nothing going on. We got to build.
Yeah, yeah.
So, yeah, you're going to have to... Good luck figuring it out with the small power poles.
Yeah, I mean, it just won't work. I mean, I guess it'll just partially work.
That'll have to be good enough. Why would I do that? Is a phrase I am often asking on this show. Bring the coal up here. I guess I'll bring it just straight over to this thingy, because reasons.
All right. So the idea behind this little setup I have here is wood comes on this belt right here. Gets turned into these wood. Raw wood becomes wood, aka like these board-looking things, and then those board-looking things become actual wood boards, which kind of look like circuits. And they get dumped on this belt right here. Down here, this is my little self-enclosed like array here. So I've, green circuits in the regular game are like what? They're 3 to 2, 3 copper cables to 2 machines,
Yep.
and I kind of wanted to make little self-enclosed systems, so that's what I did. This 3 copper cables factories is what we need to give 4 factories enough to make circuit boards. So the copper comes in on this lower line here, becomes copper cable, and then goes into these things. And then it gets spit out on this middle aisle here. Now, to fill 2 full belts, we technically need 7 of these arrays, which is annoying because that's not an even number. So what I'll probably do, what the plan is to make 8 of these things, 8 of these arrays I'm looking at. 4 on this side, and then we'll do 4 down here. That's why I have so many wooden machines here. There's enough. These 4 circuit board machines basically need 1 circuit board machine for every one of these arrays. So with these 4, I can make enough for 4 of these things. So that's kind of the plan. We won't actually need to have 4, we don't need to actually have 2 belts of this right away, but this is just kind of planning ahead, so I know I have enough wood to power this thing. So we will see how it goes.
Alrighty, rerouted coal so that the drills for the coal that we still have in our base are all just going to the steam factory for now.
Excellent.
And now the train should actually start working, because that everything coming in from the train now powers all of our smelter arrays and all that stuff.
Gosh.
I guess I still kind of want this to be left priority, just to make sure that the steam arrays don't die. Yeah, because that'll turn itself off and then they'll just go down here like they're doing now.
Whee!
Hooray! All right.
Things are working.
And if I can get some faster inserters on these chests over here, it will actually supply it a little bit better.
Yeah, the only problem with this design down here is that I need medium power poles. 2 medium power poles is enough to power an entire array that I'm standing on. But small ones is what we have. And they will power almost everything. Unfortunately, I need, after like 5 poles, I can power everything except for 2 inserters, which means the one factory in the middle is just not going to do anything. But whatevs. It's a means to an end. We'll get there eventually. How much these make? 1 second each.
So again, when we get the electric power poles, I can actually put a proper amount of stuff on this thing. Is the coal filling with those inserters? It sure isn't. Darn it. Alright, well, I think that's going to have to be what I do in the next episode, which is not going back and putting the miners on there, which I still haven't completed.
Whee!
Awesome
Someday,
stuff
Rich.
for me.
I predict 2 episodes you'll get that done.
Thank you. That's not too bad. Could be worse, sir. It could be worse.
Yeah.
Alrighty. Let me steal some of these. Doot. And we'll call that an episode. What do you say, eh? Hey,
Sounds good to
internet.
me.
Alright. Take care, everybody. We'll see you in the next one.
Bye.